miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Good evening, everybody. It's Mark Klein. Welcome to another Long Island Blues Warehouse. Every week on this stage, as many of you are aware, we bring you live blues from the world-renowned EKO Studios, Deer Park, New York. Check them out, Google them, go to ekoproductions.com, learn why. We do all these great shows on this stage, so needed to start off with that. This week's featured artist in the studio with us today, we have a group of musicians, veteran musicians, if you will. These boys have been playing for over 40 years on Long Island, putting it mildly. That's a safe assessment, I think. On the stage with us this week, please say hello to this week's featured artist, Blue Ruin.
Say, got nothing to do because my baby making me blue. Running around the streets of the clown, bear rapping my name all over the town. There's something I got to let you know. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Oh, take it down slow. Where can I get so much abuse? I was in the hangman's noose. I called you up on the telephone. Your sister says that you ain't home. Your mama said that I'm a fool. Well, daddy thinks I lost my cool. There's something I got to let you know. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. No, take me down slow. Where can I get so much abuse? I was in the hangman's knees. And call me names, spend my dough later than shame. All of the times I thought we had just strung along what a drag. There's something I got to let you know. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Oh, take it down slow. Where can I get so much abuse? I was in a hangman's knees. Baby, oh, take me down slow. Where can I get so much abuse? I was in a hangman's knees.
Oh, yeah. This week's featured artist, Blue Ruin. Man, it got about 15 degrees hotter in here since we started, Scott.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. How you doing?
First question I need to ask you is this. Does your wife ever tell you that your fingers move in your sleep? Seriously, do they?
Yeah.
I believe it. I know there's a handful.
She likes the way they move in my sleep.
Okay. I don't want to go near that, but what I do want to ask is this new guitar you're holding.
Yeah, love it. Be careful with that, baby.
Be careful, but we got to get a shot of this. You see what he did here?
Yeah, that's many years of abuse.
See that little divot there from wear and tear from the pick?
That's the Jeff Beck riff.
Is that going to happen to this guitar?
It might. We got a few years to go on it, though. We got quite a ways to get to that.
I mean, this is a brand new instrument for you that you're holding here.
Yeah, it's a Fender guitar. It's called a Spalted Maple Telly, made in Indonesia, believe it or not. And it's a great guitar. I love it. It seduced me. It seduced me, man.
They're going to endorse you after this little clip, I hope.
So.
Beautiful instrument, well played. Scott, we need to talk about some history with you. Let's talk about when you began. You've been playing guitar for over 40 years, as I mentioned earlier.
It's about 50 years, 49 years.
Seriously? Yeah. You're looking good still, man.
Yeah, hanging in.
You got that Michael McDonald look going on from the
Thank you
Doobie
so
Brothers.
much.
I know you appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
When you grow the beard, especially in the wintertime
Wish I had
sometimes.
some of his money, but wish I could sing like that, man.
The way you play, it blows my mind that guys like you three, aren't further along in your career with music as far as getting to that next level with the ability that you guys have.
Well, we're hoping your show is just going to put us over. We're going to be big in Brazil, man.
One can only hope. One can only hope. Let's talk about when you began, Scott. We're talking about 45, 48 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was the influence? What made you decide at a young age?
I was 11 years old, and I happened upon a Gibson hollow body tenor guitar. It's a 4-string guitar. And, started whacking away on that. Didn't know what I was doing. But, then the Beach Boys were happening, and the Motown sound, and surf music and Motown music, basically. And my sister, who is, I'm not allowed to say this, so just a few years older than me, had all the Presley stuff from the 50s, Jerry Lee Lewis, Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps.
That's what was being played in the house
I
when
was
you were
5 years old when I was hearing that.
being exposed to all that music.
So, and then once the Beach Boys and the Beatles came along, but more I was hearing the Motown and Beach Boys, and that got me interested in the guitar, the surf sound, I think.
Are you self-taught? Were you taking lessons at those age?
I took like a couple of lessons from a couple different good teachers. They just said, there's no hope for you, and sent me on my way. So.
And
I wanted to be a rock and roller. I should have taken those lessons.
you grew into the passion very early, though.
Yeah.
You stuck it out. You didn't play for a couple of weeks or a few months, put it down, come back later.
Well, I was kidding around, but then once I realized that, the same old line, I can meet girls with it, I started getting practicing, so I get better, And that was good. But, one summer, I guess I started shedding, really seriously shedding and wood shedding and practicing. And then I heard Jimi Hendrix, and that was just it. It was over.
That was the beginning of the end for you.
Yeah.
Great influence to have, my man. And you can hear that type of influence in you when you're playing. Yeah. And you've developed such a unique style of your own over the years.
I'm working on it. Still working on it.
You're still young in your career.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, we need good management, Mark.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, maybe in the show. Let's keep it moving.
Sure.
I said we get into another tune. We'll come back and talk more with you and some of these other fine musicians. What are we doing next?
Well, the first tune was called "Please Don't Go." We wrote that about 150 years ago for a bass player named Benny Sedano.
Give or take a few months.
And this next one is called "Style Over Substance," which was influenced by someone in the Army called Ollie North when he was in big trouble and came into the courtroom with all his medals. And Murray Kempton from Newsday wrote a great article, God bless his soul, called "Style Over Substance," and it influenced me in writing this tune.
You good to go?
Yeah.
Long Island Blues Warehouse, we are going to keep it moving with this week's featured artist, Blue Ruin.
everything we do. Nobody gives a damn if anything is true. Happens on all levels, from the powerful to the poor. The marriage in the home, the courtroom of the law. The style over substance, now 1-on-1 made 3. Don't ask me how it happened, don't put the blame on me. Style over substance, a lot of money for the few. It don't matter who you hate, as long as you look cool. Style over substance in everything we do. Nobody gives a damn if anything is true. Well, it's style over substance, now 1-on-1 made 3. Don't ask me how it happened, don't put the blame on me. Style over substance, it's gonna make things worse. Nobody has a common cause, nobody wants to work. When the world is lost to hope and things begin to rot, and maybe the only time we'll have a change in heart. Well, it's style over substance, now 1-on-1 made 3. Don't ask me how it happened, down with the blame on me.
Hi, this is Paul Elliott from London, England. You're listening to the Long Island Blues Warehouse.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah. This week's featured artist, Blue Ruin. Scott Ross, well done, my man, as always.
Thanks so much, man.
Well done. Let's talk about junior high and high school days real quick, Scott. You were involved in a couple of projects back in those days. What were you doing musically, junior high, high school?
Basement jams.
Basement jams.
Mostly. And
Blues
picking
stu-
up some gigs here and there, everything, whatever I can get my hands on. You know.
Okay.
I had a couple buddies that were into jazz, but I really didn't, know what I was doing with it. And but mostly rock and roll. And then through Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, they kind of kept saying, well, B.B. King, and Freddie King, and
The whole King
Albert
family.
King, Earl King, Don King, the whole works. And it was great. So, started paying attention to that, get you deeper into Robert Johnson and all those guys, and you get hooked. And that's what
You listened
do.
to those early guys as a relatively young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's. You were in a band called The News before Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
That you put together.
Pop top 40.
Oh, was that what that was?
Kind of. I mean, we were trying to, get the deal and do. We had a couple good tunes.
Before
good
Huey
singers.
Lewis, I said.
Yeah. But that was fun, and Atlantic Records gave us a sniff, but that was about it.
About the size of it, huh? Let's fast forward ahead to when you met your rhythm section that you've been working with now for the past
way back
40 years. How'd you hook up with Frank? And Al?
I think through the Right Track In Freeport mainly.
Is that where
I
it
used
started?
to see those guys play with Little Buster, and just various projects and stuff. Al, I think I knew through a couple other bands, and and The News. That's right, and Frank through Buster mainly. I knew of Frank before that, playing with Victor Canone, Cloud William.
Sure.
And but I didn't really. I was scared of him actually. He's a scary-looking dude. I thought he was gonna beat me up or something.
You talking about Cloud?
No, I'm talking about Frank.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah.
Francis the Bull?
He's a cream puff. He's a sweetheart.
He is.
But so that's what happened, and then we kind of jammed a bit, and then an opening came up for him to play with me in a band called the Vigilantes.
The Vigilantes?
Which was named after Bernie Getz, the Bernie Getz trio, the Vigilantes of rock and roll.
That's where that came from.
Yeah, and then we just shortened it to Vigilantes, and a lot of guys, different people came through. Al was in the band, different bass players, all kinds of stuff.
You had some
different
lineup
singles.
changes over the years.
Yeah, and then Frank and I kind of stayed together through that. That was, I would say, in the mid-'80s. That's when we started playing together.
You tore through bass players.
Yeah, and then we changed the name of the band to Blue Ruin through a Tom Waits song. there was a line in one of his songs where it was tattooed tears of blue ruin running all down her cheek. And I thought that was so cool. So
That's how that started.
So I stole that blue ruin from him.
And shortly after that is when Frank says to me, "You got to come check out my band."
Yeah.
And that was. I mean, I was always a fan of blues, but my biggest exposure and serious introduction to the blues was you three guys. And that's how it started.
We tried to teach you, Mark. We tried our best.
I'm still learning as I go, but some 26, 27
but
years ago.
You wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen.
Some days better than others. Some days better than others. But I try. And great schooling to have, you three guys. And seriously, I learned a lot from you boys. One thing that I love is I think what we're going to do next. We'll come back and talk to the rhythm section next. But this great introduction to my show that's been going for about 15 years out of this Blues Brothers intro is this amazing blues guitar riff created a song by you that I believe you're going to play in its entirety right now.
Yeah, it's called Back to Bluesland, and it's pretty self-explanatory, I think.
Love the piece. I think it's time to do it now. So, Frank, you counting this one in? Let me look in this direction first and say this. On the Long Island Blues Warehouse, we are going to keep it moving with this week's featured artist, Blue Ruin.
Back to Bluesland, baby, 'cause I was so alone without you. I said it's back to Bluesland, baby, 'cause it's so alone without you. Though you be a red hot mama, the blues is all I get from you. Woo! Blues won't forsake me, won't let me go down slow. I said, please don't forsake me. Oh, don't let me go down slow. Blues will keep me warm at night. But when I'm home all alone. All right, let's warm it up, boys. I said the guitar, my whiskey, can be my woman too. I said the guitar, my whiskey, it can't be my woman too. So it's back to bluesland, baby. Blue, how do you do?
Oh, yeah. This week's featured
Blues
artist,
of Vermont.
Blue Ruin. Nicely done as always, Scott. Let's talk about that song for a minute. You were good enough to let me borrow this song, as I mentioned earlier, but some 15 years ago.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten paid.
Great intro to this show. The check's in the mail, like Belgium.
Shit, man.
Like the contract for Belgium, the check's right behind it. Thank you again, by the way, for just a tremendous... I get so much great response to that intro out of that Blues Brothers thing we do every week. And you put that song together when? When did you put that together?
I would say in the
A little closer so people can hear you.
probably mid-'80s, early '80s.
Okay.
I think I did that recording.
How did you come...
Bolognese and Merrick.
How did you come about?
Bobby Cadway. How did I come about doing the recording?
Putting it together, writing it?
There's nothing. I mean, it's pretty standard. You know, a couple of different things dropping down to the G flat and F and all that, and moving up to the A. But that's pretty standard stuff and a lot of slow blues. I just stole from everybody, man. That's called research.
That's how that works, huh?
Yeah.
It's become a bit of a signature piece for you boys.
All right.
Especially since I play it
Well,
on
yeah,
this
you
show
play
every
it.
week.
You know, it gets played more than any song on the show, right?
I suppose it does.
At least 30 seconds of it, right?
Every the first
15 seconds.
about a minute and 20 seconds or
Not
so
bad,
every single week, and on the Friday morning, twice a week actually.
Wow.
Because I do the WUSB Stony Brook thing as well, which I'm trying to get you to be a part of.
Yes, I would love
but
to
that's
do
an
that.
acoustic thing
Yeah,
for that.
I
You'll come in and do that acoustically?
Yeah, sure. I'll bring the amp and then we'll hook up an acoustic guitar to it and I'll blast it and the kids will love it.
Kids of all ages. Kids of all ages. Well done, Scott. Well done as always. Let me grab on the bass if I can, if we'll head on up to his mic. Mr. Al Levi. How are you, sir?
Very good, sir. How are you?
It's good to have you in here again, my man.
Always my pleasure.
You've been in here a few times with different projects, and it's always good to have you in here. You're starting to build some frequent flyer miles with me, which I always appreciate. Let's start with some history with you, if I can. Now, let's talk about when you began holding down the bottom end as beautifully as you do. Did you start as a young guy yourself?
Yeah, it was probably about right after I gave up playing drums.
You started with the kit?
Yeah, I started with the kid originally.
I don't remember ever knowing that.
Yeah, actually, I was actually schooled. I learned some of the rudiments. I think I worked from the Jim Chapin book as well.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then I picked a quieter instrument, which was the bass guitar.
Okay. How old were you?
By then, I was about 15 years old.
You started a little late.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little late.
What made you decide that was the direction you wanted to head into, playing the bass?
Actually, I had an epiphany.
We're listening. We're listening.
I had an epiphany.
Okay.
I was waiting to be seated at a place called Beefsteak Charlie's, which used to be way, way back in the past.
I remember the place.
And I hear a song come on the jukebox, and it is by the band War.
Okay.
The name of the song was called "The World Is a Ghetto." And the funny thing about that, it's not a really heavy-duty, type of rock and grooving thing, but the guy plays one note, and ever since they played that one note, I've been like swimming up the stream trying to catch that note.
What was the note?
It was actually, I think he detuned the E string, the lowest string on the regular 4-string bass.
Okay.
He tuned it to a D, and that was it. In fact, the one part of the song is, "Did you know that it's true?" Boom. That was the note. When he hit that, the way he hit it, the sound he hit it, that was it. And then I was a bass guy.
Was that a nice little audition for him vocally, by the way, to maybe jump in on some vocals occasionally?
We're going to start working
It might be an idea. It might be food for thought.
If they ever go and get some microphones and wires, they can plug in.
Food for thought. Food for thought. Let's fast forward a little bit, Al, to a project Scott Ross mentioned earlier that you and Al played for many years. Integral. You and Frank rather. Of course, Little Buster and the Soul Brothers.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about a guy, just so people know, Little Buster was a guy that won amateur night at the Apollo in like 1962. He came up from North Carolina. He took first place. 25 years at the OBI. He's been playing in Long Island for about 40 years himself until we lost him, unfortunately, a few short years ago.
That's true.
How'd you hook up with Little Buster?
Well, actually, I met him one night. I believe Willis was playing. I'm not sure if... Yeah, that's
His original drummer?
Original drummer was another Willis Taylor, amazing musician. They were all amazing musicians. My first time there, I was invited to just see the guy play, and then I ended up meeting Buster, and I dropped the name. Shouldn't have dropped the name. He invites me up to the bandstand, and he goes, "Brother Al, you come up and you play the first song in the second set." So he brings me up, and he asked me what song to play. So I picked the only blues song that I knew was, by the Allman Brothers. I played Stormy Monday. So he says to the audience, "Brother Al's going to play Stormy Monday in the key of a G."
Just so people know, by the way, that is the closest, seriously, the closest impression you'll get of Little Buster, what you just did. So people that don't know Little Buster that are watching you do that, they're like, what the hell's he doing? That's the closest likeness you'll come to hearing Buster speak what you just did. Nicely done. Go on.
Thank you. So I'm familiar with the Allman Brothers version, and all of a sudden Buster says, "Okay, start 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4," and then all of a sudden it was like jumping on a freight train going like 90 miles an hour, and then I see the other guy on the other side of the stage is this guy playing keyboards, Roast Beef Joe, and he's yelling at me, and he's flashing notes and things with his fingers. He goes, G, A, B, B, I was like, what's going on? And Buster finally says,
That was a great Roast Beef joke.
That was a great impression of him as well, mind you. Absolutely it was.
So all of a sudden, Buster says, "Oh, I see what's happening." And then all of a sudden, he stops the band and he goes, 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. And then there I am. And that was the beginning of the history with Little Buster.
The beginning of the history.
And the end of the train wreck.
He was a tremendous, tremendous icon, tremendous contributor to blues, well known on the East Coast. He traveled around the world. You guys played in Japan and all over Europe with Buster over the years.
It was incredible.
You and Frank, of course, back there. Buster, he started in North Carolina himself as a young guy. You got to know him after he was up here.
Yeah, I actually met him, I think it was...
The Right Track In?
Right Track In, 1978.
It was 78 for you.
Summer of 78.
Summer 78. And so how soon after this first story you're sharing with us before you become an intricate portion, a part of his band?
Well, little by little, I used to sit in more often. In fact, one of the things Buster used to exclaim was, "Brother Al, most improved bass player." And I started to pick up part-time gigs with him little by 1980, 81, and then the other bass player ended up leaving the group, and I got the full-time gig in 87.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Just a tremendous, tremendous bass player, holding down the bottom end tremendously, as always. Every project you touch does very well. You're always a great dynamic to every project you touch. We're going to, I think, do something that Little Buster played for many years in his set. Next, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get into the tune. We'll come back and talk to the fearless drummer shortly. What's the name of the piece, guys?
Watching You, baby.
Something little. It wasn't.
Watchin'.
I always thought this was a Little Buster song.
It is. This is a Little Buster.
This is an original Buster's. Yes. Oh, we're doing the right song then. Oh, then I'm glad you guys are doing it.
We cleared that up now?
I think I'm on the same page
Watching
now.
You is a Little Buster song.
I'm a little slow, but I finally get it. And
Do your homework, baby.
I'm glad I'm on the same page. I say we do it. We'll come back and talk more with Mr. Frank Anstiss on the drum kit. Long Island Blues Warehouse, let's keep it moving with Blue Ruin.
I've been watching you, baby. And
do. Oh, I've been watching you. Watched you last night from behind a big oak tree. What you do for him, I sure wish you do for me. You got everything I need to get me through this night. Just a little loving, make everything alright. Pretty baby, you're so fine. I've been watching you, baby. I see everything you do. Wow, I've been watching you. You a married woman. Well, hell, you know I'm married too. I should be back at home. Lord, I'm out here watching you. You got everything I need to get me through this night. Just a little love, make everything alright. Pretty baby, she's so fine. To you, baby, some way, somehow. When I think about you, baby, my mind goes so wild. You got everything I need to get me through this night. Just a little loving girl, make everything alright. A pretty baby, she's so fine. Watching you, baby.
Oh yeah, very nicely done, guys. Very nice. How long have you worked at the set, Scott? That's a new one for you guys, right?
Well, we've actually been rehearsing.
Well, that's good. It seems like you did.
You know, it's starting to sound a little tight.
But then again, your fingers move in your sleep, so that's rehearsal for you anyway.
That's right.
Well done, my man. Well done. Let's grab Frank Anstiss on the drum kit if we'll pull that mic around in front of him.
What do you want to know?
Mr. Francis the Bull Anstiss. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Let's start with that. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing okay, Mark.
It's good to see you again, my man. I mentioned earlier how some 26, 27 years ago, you introduced me to this band. You said, you got to come see my... It's been that long. It's been almost 27 years ago. Frank Anstiss says to me, you got to come see my band. And I'm like, who's your band? And a few days later, you guys were playing in Bayshore on Sunrise Highway on like a Wednesday night. And I stayed for the whole night. It was a work night because we worked together.
That's right.
And we went to work late the next day because we hung out. And
you got fired.
We didn't get fired. We just light slaps on the wrist. And my serious introduction to the blues through you. So I thank you again for that, my man.
You're quite welcome. You've done a good job with it as well.
So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's talk about the history, Frank. Let's talk about when you began.
No, I don't want to.
We're going to anyway, because that's what the young kids like to know. They like to know when the drummer began. How old were you?
Well, I actually started on saxophone, actually.
You started on the sax,
Yes, I did.
which you still dabble with lightly today.
Lightly.
That's
Lightly. But I grew up in a musical family. My mom was a blues singer. My dad was a real heavy jazz listener. I grew up with listening to Stan Kenton and Woody Herman and, big bands.
at what age? At what age are you being exposed to this?
12, 13. I didn't really start playing, though, seriously until I was about 17, 18.
Bit of a late bloomer yourself, like Al.
Yeah. I mean, I played, but I didn't play out.
You got more serious in the mid-teens.
Right. I wanted to have my act together before I went out to play.
Now,
or
are you
even jam.
self-taught on the kit, or did you have lessons?
I'm an autodidact.
You're a what?
I'm sorry, I used too big of a word for you guys. I'm pretty much self-taught.
What was the word you used? Auto what?
Autodidact. AUTODIC.
I don't need it
T-A-T.
spelled. I just want to know what it meant. Scott didn't know either, so I'm not the only
These
dummy
guys-
on
these
this.
It was
guys-
auto. I knew something was auto.
These
He was
guys
driving
lack
somewhere.
these guys lack a lot of general knowledge, Besides being backing them up on the
That's why
music,
we play music,
I have to
Frank.
keep them up, up on their diction.
We appreciate
No,
that.
but I studied. I went to music school for a year. As a percussion major, and I studied theory, and I took a couple of private lessons. But basically, I pretty much molded my own style into what I am today, which is whatever. I don't know.
All right, we're going to leave
It
that.
works for me, baby.
It works for all of us. Let's fast forward to junior high and high school days. Are you jamming in garage bands and things of this nature as well?
Very little. I was just practicing, really, then. Just practicing and learning my rudiments. And I did a stint with drum corps for a while. That was it. I wasn't serious. I didn't really know where I was going with it yet. But when I heard Jimi Hendrix and Mitch Mitchell, that was pretty much the turning point for me.
Okay.
And then I got into it full swing.
Full swing. When did the little Buster thing happen for you?
That happened back in, that was like the mid-'70s. Actually, my wife was the one who introduced me to him. Well, actually, it was Roast Beef Joe. My wife was waitressing at a restaurant, and he used to come in, and she told Roast Beef Joe that my husband is a drummer. So they invited me down to a place called the Rusty Nail.
Okay.
And when I walked in there he was singing and playing through his amplifier. And Willis had a foot like thunder. Had this little Japanese drum set, like one-ply mahogany. And they just blew me away. They were real excellent. All of those guys actually are pretty much dead now. They've all passed away. Buster, Lee, and
Yeah.
Willis are gone.
But Jerry's still around. We saw
Jerry's
him last
still, yeah,
night.
we saw him last
Jerry
night, actually.
Harshaw, great horn player.
Jerry the sax player, sure.
Shout out to Jerry. Hey, John.
Jerry.
Too bad we couldn't get him down here to be a part of this with you
We
guys.
tried. We just gonna see he was busy.
All right.
And that was it. I played with him for about 8 years, and then we parted ways, and I started working with Scott, which was definitely a breath of fresh air for me. And getting out of that syndrome of just one-nighters and not really, showing my art, and, writing musically and stuff. And we worked together very well.
You're a gun for hire around the island a little bit yourself. I know your phone rings a lot with people looking for a last-minute fill-in if their drummer can't. A lot of different genres of music. People will call you up and say, "Hey, can you fill in? Can you fill in? Can you fill in?"
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't do that, but,
They're going to probably stop now that they've heard this. But
Well, I play pretty much with Scott now. I'm doing another thing with another band just to fill in for their drummer who's away.
Sure.
Once he's back, I'm done.
Great history with
And
you, Frank.
then after that, I went back with Buster for another 5 years, and when we went back, that's when we did the tours. We did the Japan and Europe and Nova Scotia.
What was that last one?
Nova Scotia.
Canada,
This mic
right.
doesn't want to cooperate with me, but that's okay.
All right.
And,
Break it again? You broke something?
Is this supposed to come off over here? And basically that's it. But, I'll always remember Buster. He was a big influence for me. And Willis, who was just a fantastic drummer. He showed me actually a lot of things. He wasn't technically, a technical drummer, but he showed me where to really put it in the pocket and where to use the 16ths and the 8ths and utilize the proper notation, which I had lacked at that point. I was a little frantic, but put me in my place.
He schooled you.
especially for that music, right?
Yeah.
For the R&B.
I will always love them. I love those guys. They're always in my heart.
Those guys loved you too, what I understand. So, just another great contributor to blues and music on the island, and I always appreciate what you do and what you're about.
We appreciate what you do, Mark. You've done very well over the years, man. You've done a lot for Long Island and the blues, and I'm sure everyone appreciates. I know we do.
Well, I appreciate that, guys, and I say we keep it moving. Scott, unfortunately, we only have time for 2 more.
Oh, okay.
So you know what that means.
All right. Well, we'll do a little biographical ballad, but actually autobiographical for anybody who spends a little too much time in bars. I think that everybody will be able to relate to this. We call this the Lucky 13.
You guys good to go?
Yep.
Long Island Blues Warehouse, we're going to keep it moving with Scott Ross and Blue Ruin.
Sliding down his alley, my glasses full of sand. I'm looking for my ticket. I just don't understand. The reason for my being here isn't very clear. I tried talking to Jesus. I chewed off his ear. Take me back to the place that I know. My friends are all there. Don't want me to go. 3-fingered nights, lucky 13. A little sip of whiskey, a pretty bottle of wine. I whisper in your ear, we'll snort a little line. You looking for trouble, man? Come to the right place. Say the wrong thing, y'all. Someone mess up your face. Take me back to the place that I know. My friends are all there. Don't want me to go. 3-fingered nights, lucky 13. crawls on the floor, I babbles all about. I may be down, but don't count me out. One of these days, boys, the sun gonna shine. I'm gonna pick myself up, get back in that line. Take me back to the place that I know. My friends are all there. Don't want me Mike's. Lucky 13. Three-finger Mike's. With three-finger Mike's. Three-finger Mike, yeah. The three-finger Mike, lucky 13. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We got to thank back there on the drum kit, Mr. Frank Anstiss. Thank you so much, Frank. Always appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us, Mark. We do
Kick-ass job as
appreciate
always,
it.
my man. Appreciate it. Over there on the bass, let's thank Mr. Al Levi. Thank you so much, Al.
Quite welcome. My privilege.
Always good to have you in here. Look forward to seeing a lot more of you with these boys in the future. Last but certainly not least, we got to thank Mr. Scott Ross, guitar and vocals. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing for the island. It is a really good thing. It helps bands get out there, and that's good for the blues.
And on the other side of the coin, you guys are tremendous, tremendous contributors to what the island has to offer in terms of live music. You're one of the early guys. There's so many bands that have come and gone over the years and have gone. You guys are still here doing it, and a tremendous, tremendous job. My biggest influence to the blues, you three guys right here, and I thank you so much for what you guys are about, so we appreciate it. For the Long Island Blues Warehouse, I'm Mark Klein at liblues.com. Always remember, go to ekoproductions.com and check out this fine studio, the official studio of the Blues Warehouse. We're going to say goodbye and do one more tune with this week's featured artist. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Scott Ross.
Also, this is called The Eyes of Jade and a Heart of Stone.
Let's do it. Blue Ruin.
So fine and right, sets the fire at my place tonight. I give her love, she says it's nice, but she can't make no sacrifice. She hides behind her wailing wall. You try to climb, you're bound to fall. She got eyes of jade with a heart of stone. Lots of rum, but no one's home. She got eyes of jade with a heart of stone. Oh, baby, look at my tears burning deep in my soul. Well, isn't it a pity? Broken heart, broken in Heartbreak City. I'll feel so blue, lovesick and in pain. I was all alone on that misery train. I jet to you on my lovely money, just so I could call you my sweet honey. Got eyes of jade and a heart of stone. Lots of rum, but no one's home. Eyes of jade and a heart of stone. Oh, baby, look at my tears burning deep in my soul. can't run, I just can't hide from all these feelings locked up inside. Her initials, they've been carved into my heart. This kind of love, they're tearing me apart. How long will you take this time to heal the wounds of a lover's crime? Got eyes of jade and heart of stone. Lights are run, but no one's home. Got eyes of jade and heart of stone. Lights are run, but no one's home. Eyes of jade with a heart of stone. Eyes of jade and heart of stone. Eyes of jade and heart of stone.